The chef was cutting up a pig, his cleaver circled around the pig's body and then came out through its mouth, yet the blade wasn't stained with any blood at all. Then the chef pulled on the pig's leg and lifted it instantly. The meat and bones separated perfectly. Everyone applauded, amazed by his incredible skill. Not long after, a braised pork dish was served. But after eating it, everyone suddenly started to feel stomach pain. The man realized there was something wrong with the food. Even though he had prepared all the ingredients himself except for the final salt that had been added by his apprentice, the chef finally understood the truth. Furious, he confronted and interrogated his apprentice, but the apprentice denied everything. The villagers began to lose their trust in the chef. Unable to defend himself, the village chief drove him away to prevent further trouble, forcing him to leave in order to make a living elsewhere. The chef went to a restaurant to apply for a job. His competitor was a man who caught a puffer fish and displayed incredible knife skills, slicing it into sashimi. Then the chef took a sea bream, split its back open, and sliced it into thin pieces. Miraculously, the fish was still swimming even when only the bones remained, as if it felt no pain. The restaurant owner was impressed and loved the chef's dish. The man was confused, then realized that the chef had been using an ice knife while cooking. He admitted the chef's superiority and even asked to become his apprentice. Word quickly spread that the chef's cooking was extraordinary, which made the head chef of the restaurant feel threatened. He then challenged the chef to a cooking duel. The loser would have to leave the restaurant. This time, the dish at stake was roast duck. The chef asked the man to be his assistant, and they both quickly finished preparing their dishes. A young woman tasted the head chef's roast duck, and it was incredibly delicious. Then it was time for the chef's dish. The girl thought the duck had already cooled down, but when she touched it, her hand was suddenly burned. At that moment, the roast duck began to release steam and an incredibly tempting aroma. It turned out that the chef had coated the duck with malt sugar to keep it warm so the dish wouldn't cool down. The girl took a bite of the duck and was amazed by its delicious taste. The head chef, seeing this, also tried it and could only let out a quiet sigh. He then admitted his defeat. Out of curiosity, he asked how the chef had cooked the dish. It turned out that the chef hadn't used a knife at all because if the duck meat touched the blade, its fibers would be cut and the texture would be ruined. Instead, he instructed his apprentice to break the duck's bones using the palm of his hand. After hearing this explanation, the head chef left the restaurant, and that was how the chef became the new head chef. You can watch this chef story in the movie Kung Fu Chefs.